Hello, welcome to Jay's Bass Channel, and today we are having a big shootout, or as I like to call it, a direct box or DI rodeo. And we have some heavy hitters in here, and we're going to start out with the classic Countryman DI. I don't even know if they still make this DI, but this old Countryman, I think this is a 85. I'm not even sure, it doesn't even say on it. But these were the kind of what you saw everywhere back in maybe the 70s and 80s. And you still see them today. Of course, they're still popular. But these are an active DI that you just used to see everywhere. If you got a rider and you were a live sound engineer or something like that, they always would put Countrymans on there. Of course, we didn't have Countrymans, so we'd show up these whirlwind DIs and things of that sort that weren't quite as high end at all. But this was kind of the king of the road. And literally, but then a new contender came along, which was Radial, and Radial has kind of taken over that market from what I can tell. They have a bunch of DIs. This is the JDI, which is a little bit higher end passive DI. Passive meaning it does not take phantom power. It just uses a transformer to convert the signal, to balanced low impedance from your high impedance guitar signal. This one actually has a few bells and whistles on it, like it has a phase reverse for your cabinet and your direct or out of phase. You can fix that real quickly. And I think it's got a merge, and I think what the merge does is you can put two sources into this one and combine them, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, this is a great sound DI, and also Radial has just become kind of the most popular professional DI company around. They're Canadian made, great company. But then you have some what I call newcomers. This is from a company called Acme, and this is their Motown DI. Now, as you would imagine, this thing tries to get the sound that you would get on the old Motown recordings, the classics from the 60s and on into the 70s, a very smooth, a very pleasant bass sound, or I guess they use it on guitars too, but of course we only talk about bass on Jay's Bass Channel. But this is a transformer-based one, and I guess the difference in all these transformer-based ones are the transformers, and the different transformers entail different qualities of contouring of the low end, dynamics, detail, all that sort of stuff. And this one is definitely aimed more for the retro sort of thing, people chasing the classic James Jamerson bass sound. Then I think maybe the very newest thing we have here is from Grace Designs. Grace Designs, this is an active, meaning it will take phantom power, but it does have a transformer in it as well. And the transformer can add a lot to the sound of a direct box, where this old one, I don't think there's any transformer that I know of in a Countryman. Classic, active ones don't have a transformer. They're electronically balanced, but this has a transformer in it. So we're going to listen to all of these and see what we think about them. We're going to get on down to business. Now we're going to go chronologically, though. We're going to start out with the oldest of the offerings, which is the Countryman, and I'll play a little bit. Now, the Countryman doesn't have a pad. It's kind of got a hot output, so I'm going to have to turn the gain back up on my preamp. Now, all these things are running in to a Camden preamp. In my rack is a 500 preamp, and there's no EQ or anything like that going on as we record. It's just a straight sound of the DI going into the preamp, going into my Burl converters and into Pro Tools. Okay, so let's give a listen to what goes on with this Countryman DI. what I notice about this DI is it is very, the transients are a bit stiff. They give you a lot of, like, say, attack. So if you like a lot of attack, say if you're going for kind of an Iron Maiden-y kind of, if you need a lot of kind of that mid-range attack that your fingers do, this is a great box. Also, this is a sound that we've all heard before on a lot of records, a lot of 70s records, was probably the sound of this direct box. So this is a classic. They don't even make them anymore, so you have to find these on the used markets. From what I can tell, I've gotten a couple of them used, and they're reasonably priced, you know, 150 bucks or something like that. I think I've gotten them for even less than 100. Great DIs, but let's move on to some of the more modern offerings that are maybe more designed for digital recording. These were designed back in the days of recording to tape, so they didn't need all that transformers in them and things like that to warm things up, because when the bass signal hit tape, it would round it out a little bit and compress it a little bit too. So you have to understand that this comes from a different era, where these other direct boxes were more designed for what we call the digital era. So there is a difference in thought process of design on these boxes. All right, let's turn the gain down, or back up, I should say. Well, we'll hear a little pop here. And let's move along chronologically to, let's go to the input here, output there, and let's move along to this Radial JDI. Okay, let's listen to that, see what we... All right, I'm definitely noticing a little bit less of that real strong mid-range attack. This DI still has great detail. Excellent sounding DI. Low end sounds good. Very neutral sounding though. It doesn't do a lot, but it definitely, the transformer is definitely soaking up a little dynamics. It's a little easier to play in a sense if you want a little give, a little more of a feel of a, maybe not quite a tube amp per se, but in that direction a little bit. Okay, so that's the Radial JDI. Like I said, very good DI. I've used this one often. This is from my personal stock, as is the Countryman. Now we'll move on to this Motown DI. Now this was loaned to me by my friends at Front End Audio, my pro audio dealer. I run a recording studio called the Jam Room. I record a lot of people, and of course I use DIs all the time, and I'm always looking for a better bass DI. So let's listen to this Motown DI and see what kind of difference we get here. That one has definitely softened things up a little bit. I can tell where they're really going for that retro sound, because this one feels more like a tube amp or something. The mid-range is still pronounced, but not nearly as pronounced as like the Countryman. A little less pronounced still than the JDI, and it's definitely got a smoother, more tape-like, tube-like sound. It's got a more give, so it's definitely very friendly to play, and I definitely would say that to the uninitiated, these direct boxes might not sound that different, but to me, actually playing them, they sound a lot different. And the dynamics of this one are very pleasant. And also this bass has older strings. And with older strings, sometimes you plug into a solid state amp and you're like, wow, I need new strings. But then you plug into a tube amp, it's like, oh, these strings are okay. And it's like that with this direct box. This DI seems to give a little life to my older strings, a little life to the bass, and it definitely has a little bit of that magic that it is kind of supposed to have. It says the name Motown right on there, so I think this definitely does deliver some of that. Now, Grace Designs, they are known more for detail. They obviously have a very good reputation for making super top quality gear, and let's see what they have going on. I'm obviously very interested in checking out the Grace Designs. Also very pleasant transients, but this one's maybe a little more on the detail on the top, where this one might be a little, the Acme, a little more smooth and retro. You know, the JDI being maybe a smidge less smooth than these two. And of course, the Countryman being the most, I'd say the stiffest, as far as it doesn't have any kind of give in the actual DI itself. When I say give, I mean like a little bit of natural compression, where actually this Grace, I noticed a little bit of a kind of a, something about the low or the low mid sounds really good. It sounds like it gives a little bit of body or punch to the bass. So it's a very, very good sounding direct box. And I think these two are a little bit more money than these. These are a little more in the utilitarian range. These have been around so long that you can find these used pretty easily. I'm sure I got this one used. I definitely got this one used. These are very fresh offerings, the Grace. And one more look at these newer things, the Acme. Newer offerings, probably a little harder to find those on the used market, so that's something you're probably going to need to buy new. Of course, I got both of these from my friends and my pro audio dealer, Front End Audio, so I would suggest you guys go there if you're interested in the Acmes. I'm sure they've actually had a lot of really good deals on some B stock lately, on some Radial stuff too, so if you're in the Radial market, the Front End Audio people can help you too. And I think considering the price point, that this is a great DI. Let me say that. This is the JDI is a great DI. I think these are a few bucks more, and they sound like they're a few bucks more. What can I say? These are pretty neck and neck items as far as, top quality DIs. I mean, I definitely put these in top shelf. I've used, Avalons, Manleys, whatever, and, I think, I would take these two DIs above almost everything I've ever heard. And I still use these DIs for recording too. These are all good DIs. But hopefully if you're in the DI market, I know this is a long video, but if you are in a serious DI market, there you go. There's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in my book for DIs, or the ones I've got access to. All right, well, thanks for checking it out, Jay's Bass Channel, and thanks for Grace and Acme for making these great DIs for me to check out. I got these new demo models, and these, like I said, are just old stock I have sitting around. All right, hopefully you'll like this video and follow for more content. See ya.